Tell me a little bit about that. What do we do? What is the plaintiff entitled to when a condition is worsened or aggravated?
Well, the good thing is the at-fault party and their insurance carrier, they're on the hook basically for anything that is worsened. You know, just like any case, we're going to have to prove that it was proximately caused by the negligence or the intentional act of the defendant. But the good thing is the courts in our common law have established the fact that they are actually liable for these injuries, okay, and the worsening of a prior injury, okay? They don't get off scot-free just because you previously had an issue with your knee or your back or something like that. It really comes down to the distinction between how permanent this change is, okay? And that comes down to two different words that are going to sound exactly the same, but aggravation and exacerbation. Those have they sound like they're the same word, and they pretty much have the same meaning in typical, language. However, it kind of comes out of workers' comp law that they have distinctions, okay? And that's applied also into our case, and it's just a good way to use words that mean what we mean for them in a personal injury case. So let's talk about aggravation first. An aggravation is going to be a more permanent change, okay? So there's an injury that exists, and this new injury that's at the fault of the tortfeasor is going to cause a general elevation or raising of the severity of that illness or that injury, okay? So the degenerative disc disease, it is a tongue twister, is the classic example here. So say we have a client who has degenerative disc disease. They go to the chiropractor on a regular basis, but not like every day, maybe once a month or something. They're going to a chiropractor and they're treating this. It's something they live with. They're in a minor vehicle collision, okay? It's not very strong, but because that person had this prior injury, say now one of the discs in their back is ruptured or herniated. Well, they still have the degenerative disc disease, but it's now elevated to a much higher level. They're going to have more treatment. They're going to live with a lot more pain. If a disc is herniated, it's not like it's necessarily going to call for surgical intervention, but they're going to have more therapy, and they're going to live with more pain, and they maybe have injections, things like that. So their general level of their disease is now elevated. So that's an aggravation. An exacerbation is going to be more temporary in nature, okay? So it's going to be a temporary worsening of the symptoms of a prior injury, okay? A good example of that would be, say we had a client who played football in high school, and then say he suffers a fall, like a slip and fall injury, and either twists his leg, twists his knee, or hits his knee. Something causes, say, like a flare-up in arthritis, or, it causes swelling. And so even if he had arthritis before from a prior injury, he now has a temporary elevation of that injury. He's going to have to treat it, but after treatment and proper, everything he does, he's probably going to be back to normal.
Mm-hmm. His normal,
right. Exactly right.
And that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Is the before and after, right? So
exactly, whatever
your normal is, whatever degree of change there was after whatever tragedy that befell that person, that's what the defendant is really on the hook for.
That's right.
But I mean, I think the law is kind of the easy part because it's really just degree of change before and after. But in practical terms, oftentimes there's a proof problem.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to, what can you actually prove and how do you prove that before and after?